Let's move on then to this. The Tourism Ministry has responded to a Daily Maverick article revealing plans by SA Tourism to sponsor English Premier League football team Tottenham Hotspur to the tune of almost R1 billion. It claims that the story is riddled with inaccuracies and untruths aimed at tarnishing Minister Lindiwe Sisulu's image. It adds that the report seeks to drive a political agenda rather than reporting on the truth. The ministry says that the reporter falsely claims that Sisulu is forcing SA Tourism to get the deal done before she is moved from the tourism portfolio. It claims that the reported deal is an SA Tourism board matter of which the minister has not been briefed. Now, let's stay with this particular report and speak to Steve Motale, who is the Minister of Tourism Spokesperson. Steve, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I mean, reading the statement, it seeks to suggest that, the minister was not involved, and this is something that the minister is also not lying down. Before we get to the deal itself, how has the minister reacted, particularly to this particular report, add on to the fact that there's now a statement that has been released? Just take us into that moment when she heard of this report.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to the viewers. You are correctly pointing out this is the story that was broken by the Daily Maverick. However, the minister takes strong exception to the political agenda that is driven by the Daily Maverick. For instance, the Daily Maverick claims that the minister is forcing this deal through the throat of SAT Tourism Board. And this is far from the truth. The SAT Board is an independent entity. And of course, the minister does not interfere in whatever decisions that they make. Yes, they have to brief her. Like I'm talking to you now, they are currently briefing the minister on this particular deal. But for the Daily Maverick to suggest that this is the project of the minister and the minister is driving it through, forcing the board to drive it through, is a false report.
So, Steve, I'm going to get to the briefing in just a moment. I just want to get to what you said at first. You said this is a political agenda. What is at the heart of this political agenda?
Listen, for instance, in their own report, they are alluding to the fact that the minister wants to see this deal through before she is moved. Obviously, they are referring to the reported looming cabinet reshuffle. I mean, that is completely unfair.
Steve? Oh, no. It seems that we have a problem with Steve's line. Steve, are you still there? Steve, are you still with us? All right, I'm going to ask the team to try and establish a better line with Steve there as we try to get a sense and understand what's going on here, because I'm quite interested in the fact that Steve says as we speak, the minister is getting a briefing on what is happening here. So very interesting, because I'm keen to hear what we can be told as members of the public is part of this briefing. What has he heard so far? What can they share with us? Steve, I do think you are back. You were still talking to us about that political agenda that you were saying is you are claiming is being driven by the Daily Maverick. But I'd like to get to another point that you mentioned. You say that the minister is currently getting a briefing. What can you tell us about the details of that briefing?
Yeah, look, the minister, obviously, her responsibilities include playing an oversight role over an entity like SAT. They are briefing her in terms of the deal. And the SAT board itself will have a media briefing tomorrow. That is what I'm told, in which they will tell the country exactly what this deal entails. But we are having an issue with the Daily Maverick, linking it directly to the minister. So when they themselves are saying in their own report that this deal predates the minister's deployment to tourism. It started in 2017. That is what they are saying. Now, how do they make it the minister's brainchild? It definitely defies logic.
So, Ntate Motale, the issue that the minister is taking here is not with the said deal, possibly. is with the fact that the minister is seen to be the one championing this particular deal. Am I hearing you correctly? I have a follow-up question there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So according to then what you know so far, is this deal a possibility?
It is a possibility, but like I'm telling you, I'm speaking on behalf of the minister. South African Tourism Board will take the public into their confidence tomorrow. I'm told they have a media briefing planned for tomorrow morning.
I hope
you will get that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we get those details. Thank you so much for sharing that. But I wonder, hey, as you were speaking, on behalf of the minister, maybe you might be able to shed some light on this one as well. Should this deal then materialize, does the minister believe that this is what South Africa needs right now in the context of everything that's happening?
Unfortunately, I cannot tell you what the minister thinks, because she's currently being briefed on this whole matter.
But
whether it makes sense to her and the current state that the country is in, that is exactly what she seeks to establish from the board.
So when
actually the meeting between her and the board was supposed to take place tomorrow, but judging by the urgency of this matter, she summoned the board to a meeting, and she's getting all the facts.
And I hear you, Ntate Motale, but please allow me to maybe ask you to indulge us just a little bit more. I know you say that the minister's still getting a briefing and all of that, but surely because you speak for her, maybe when you were sitting with her and this was happening, or you were on a telephone conversation with her, does she think, though, that this is what South Africa needs right now?
I cannot say as to what she thinks up until, like I'm indicating, she gets the proper briefing. Then she can express her thoughts on this whole issue.
So let's then talk about what happens now. Does she then take legal action? As your statement says, there's still a weighing of options there. Has she decided whether there's going to be legal action here? Because she is saying that she wasn't involved here. She's not personally championing it, and she's still getting more details.
Well, it is a blatant lie. And, it's characteristic of the Daily.
Ntate Motale, I think you're on mute again. You were saying it's characteristic of?
The Daily Maverick. It actually, they have made the minister their project. I don't understand for what good reason. But then it's common knowledge that ministers do not get involved in signing deals and tenders and projects. The minister is just there for political oversight. The SAT board is an independent board like any other board, and they make their decisions without any interference from the minister.
So you're saying they've made her their project at whose behest?
They maybe direct that question to them.
But
direct that question to them as to whose hired gun are they?
Why would you call them a hired gun? What have you seen?
Listen, I've lost count of how many factually inaccurate stories have been written about Minister Lindiwe Sisulu. I've been on this platform and many other platforms dispelling untruths that have been peddled about her.
The Democratic Alliance says that it wants to send people to the United Kingdom in order to be able to go on a fact-finding mission, and we understand what exactly is going on here. How has the minister responded to that?
Well, I think it's a premature decision by them. Let them wait for the SAT board to convene a media briefing tomorrow where they are going to unpack proper details about this deal.
So you're going to be giving us details of that briefing at a later stage, I suppose, then, so we know, because really we would like to be there to cover it live.
Exactly. The minute the SAT board will give details of this deal, and the minister will also give her thoughts on this deal as well. All
right, Ntate Motale, let's talk then as soon as we then get a sense of when this briefing is happening, what the minister now knows, because there are concerns that this is being pushed at a high speed, and I'm sure, as you say, the SAT board might be able to tell us why and what exactly is going on here, because there's a lot of questions that, we have and the viewers have tonight, and would like to really get some answers. So thank you so much for taking our call. We do appreciate your time, and let's see then what happens on this one. So that is Steve Motale, who speaks for the tourism minister. We did, of course, also reach out to the Democratic Alliance because we're quite interested to also speak to them about now their statement and this fact-finding mission in order to understand what's going on there. But, they could not come on to the show because there were some clashes with their time there as well. But as you heard here on the show, tomorrow we are expecting that briefing by the Tourism Board to clarify exactly what's going on here. Why is it being pushed to speed? And we need to understand, do they say the minister was involved? Because Steve says the minister was not involved. So we need to get a sense now from the Tourism Board on what exactly is going on here and at what speed are they pushing this.